Good morning, YouTube. It is 10 a.m. in the great state of Texas, and the marathon continues. So, what are we doing in today's projects? We're calling this one the Smokey Bowl because I took some very fine black glitter. Going to add some white pigment powder to it as well, and we're going to get this cool smoky effect. And I already apologize if you can hear my cat in the background. It's 3 o'clock in the morning when I'm doing this commentary, and the cat has found something and is running around crazy on my hardwood floors. So that's what you're hearing in the background if you're able to hear that. So it's going to be really hard to concentrate while I do these commentaries. And if you've been watching my channel for any amount of time, you know I don't take the commentaries too seriously. So here we go. Getting everything mixed up, we put a lot of that fine black glitter in there, and now we're just going to add, obviously we've already added the powder to it, so the white pigment powder is in there, and you get this cool smoky type of effect. I think I've done some projects like this before in the past where I've done a similar color, but I really love how this one turned out. So 4.5 hours in the pressure pot. Look how cool that is. It's like a nebula in there, but you get the cool white swirl effect with a cool black glitter effect to it as well. But once we turn it down on the lathe, it looks more smoky than anything else. So this is going to turn out really, really cool. So if you guys aren't familiar with what we're doing in these projects, these are what I call the marathon projects. So I've got a work situation that I have to leave for that's going to take me out of the workshop for a couple of months, and ended up doing almost 20 projects in 2.5 weeks and just going crazy with these smaller little bowl projects. So that's why they are the size they are this year. So don't be stingy with your hot glue, getting everything on there. Pine board, taking the faceplate, attaching that to the pine board, and getting everything screwed down. A little bit of a crack in the pine board there. We're going to take some hot glue and fix that. Boop, boop, load it. Because you don't want things flying off the lathe. FYI, the Christmas project that we do this year. Hint, hint, things might be flying off the lathe in that project. But anyway, we're concentrating on this one. And as I'm turning it there, you can already tell that it's way off center. So unfortunately, this ended up being a much smaller project than I wanted it to be. You can tell by the amount of wobble and turn there on the actual lathe that everything was way off centered. So unfortunately, it's going to be a little bit small. But we ended up making something really cool out of it. But we had to take a lot of material off, unfortunately. So here we are, a little bit later in the project, getting that layer, getting those layers off. Again, it's 3 o'clock in the morning when I'm doing these commentaries, so I apologize. This isn't a professional woodworking channel. This is a amateur. I'm a guy in a garage, basically. So if you came here for professionalism, I'm not that dude. So you can see there, a lot of material has to come off, so I'm having to take bigger bites with the gouge there, and just trying to get everything nice and cylindrical. But the great thing about it is, if you're new to woodworking, once you get that cylindrical shape to it, the wobble stops, which is super important, because the wobble will take away from your ability to accurately and proficiently make a bowl. So you got to get everything nice and even before you flip it on the headstock there. So anyway, once we got everything nice and into a cylindrical shape, now all we're doing is making sure the bottom is the same way. Make sure everything's nice and flush. Getting everything cleaned up real nice and neat with the smaller carbide tool before we make the mortise. So here we go, using the bowl gouge there, or what is this? This is the parting tool. We're using the parting tool on this one, and then we're just going to come and use this small carbide square and make a mortise out of it. And then we're going to stop and resize it here in just a little bit. Bam, that one wasn't small enough, wasn't large enough, so then we have to come back, make sure everything's nice, even, and flush again. Once we do that, try again, boop, and just a little bit more on this one, and boop, I think that'll do it. So once we ended up doing that, now we can take the actual blank off the lathe, take the Ryobi drill, and get that faceplate off of it. Boom, there it is. And you can see already how small it is compared to when we started. So unfortunately, it's not going to be as large. But we're going to come back once I come home from my work obligation, and we're going to make it way better. So usually I would just go ahead and turn down this piece of wood with just the gouge. But I saw a little bit of a crack here, and this was way easier just peeling that bad boy off. Boom, you can see that pine board. We will not be using that again, by the way. So once we got all that off, now we got to get that superficial glue off. And we're just going to come back with a round carbide tool, get everything nice and neat, get that superficial flush, flat look before we actually start the gouging portion of it. You want to make sure everything is nice and even before you start there. And then we're going to take that sharp lip and then just do some finer edge work, give it a little bit of a round profile there. So now we are starting the actual gouging portion. My cats have now encircled me around my little workstation here, so you might hear them start jumping on the stuff. But anyway, getting really good shavings off of this. Now we're just going ahead and working our way out, we're gouging from the out to the center, out to the center. I don't know why I'm saying that. It's 3 o'clock in the morning, by the way. So, yeah, I don't know what's going on. But anyway, getting really good material off. Nothing flew off the lathe, so that's always a plus. But overall, really happy with how much material we're getting off. You can see over there by the wall, we're getting a lot of good shavings, a lot of good material off. And now all we're doing is doing some finer edge work, getting everything cleaned up with the round carbide tool, and then getting a feel for where we want to go next. So here's a little bit different angle a little bit later, making sure everything is to the depth that we want. Make sure the edges are really nice and clear. And you can see how cylindrical that bowl is on the outside there, so you get a really good angle of that. And unfortunately, it's a little smaller than we wanted it to be. But when I come back from my work thing, we will be doing larger projects. So don't worry. If you go back and watch my older videos, you're probably saying to yourself, man, you used to do some really large projects. And I was like, yeah, but in the essence of time, I just didn't have the time to go and do large projects in 2.5 weeks. And I just wanted to make sure that I had enough videos so we could post them, because you got to feed the algorithm to grow your channel, and that's what we're trying to do here. So after the project's all nice and done, you can see the pile of shavings from all of the other projects we did in the marathon. So this is shavings just from this one little project there. Man, that's a lot. So we're going to get the workbench kind of cleaned up a little bit, add this to the pile, and then we're going to do my favorite part, which is sanding. I absolutely hate sanding. Everybody knows that about me if you've been watching my channel for any amount of time. So 320, 340, all the way up to 1500, and then we're going to come back and hit it with the round, hit it with the micro mesh, do some wet sanding. That's really where you get the good polish and the good pop of what the color is supposed to be. This is where it makes it seem way more professional. So once we get all that done, then we're going to come back, hit it with that wood wax. That really makes it shine. Absolutely love this stuff. And interesting fact, by the time we get to the last project in the marathon, I had just enough. So thank goodness. So here we are, all nice, neat, and polished. So I hope you guys are liking these marathon project videos. Like I said, I finished this in March. You guys are probably watching this sometime in early fall. But overall, really happy with how this is turning out. Hope you guys are liking the videos. Don't forget to subscribe, like, all that fun stuff that every YouTuber always says. And leave comments, all that good stuff. And hopefully I'm home soon. Hopefully I'll get back in the garage and be able to make more stuff for you guys. I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Okay, so project is done. This little guy, I'm gonna call him the Smokey Bowl, I think. You can see all that cool, fine glitter, that cool black and white, just mix of color that's in there. It absolutely looks gorgeous. I love how this one turned out. I didn't have a lot of hopes for it initially when I saw it, and I was like, oh, this kind of looks like some other things I've done, but man, just like I always say, even though you know, the projects kind of all meld together. Each one is its own unique fingerprint. Each one, you can draw a landscape a million times and do it differently if you want to, but really loved how this turned out. Gorgeous. You can see through it. It's translucent. Love it. So hope you guys love it. The marathon continues. I'm out of here in 6 days, trying to get everything done before I go. Trying to have, so you guys will have a video every Sunday. And I'm sure I went over this in the commentary, you know, for all of 2022. It's March now. It's like March 20 something. But man, loved how this turns out. So anyway, hope you liked it. Hope you got something out of it. Don't forget to subscribe, like it, all that good shit. And I'll see you guys in the next project. All right, peace.